Good evening, love nuggets. Welcome back to Hippication. We can get a little fancy around here, aren't we? Got a thumbnail now, figured out how to do that. Got this nice backdrop. I still can't figure out, the whole ring light and the glare on my glasses, so I don't like that. So we're just gonna take the glasses off while we do this video. So tonight we're talking about empaths. Are you an empath? Do you know somebody in your life who's an empath? Are you hearing that word a lot and not knowing exactly what it means? It seems like that word is kind of all over the place these days. An empath is somebody who is very, very astute when it comes to other people's emotions. So much so that they say that empaths, who's they? They say that empaths take on people's emotions as their own. Empaths tend to be human lie detectors. And it's actually been found now that they're studying empaths more and more, that the mirror neurons in people's brains that are said to be empaths are very, very active. What that means is there's neurons in your brain in a couple of different areas that when you watch somebody do something, you get the feelings like you're doing it. So if you originally, it was studied in primates, and you'd watch a primate who would be watching another primate eat a banana, and they would have the same kind of areas in their brains light up like they were eating a banana. So it has to do with mirroring what other people are doing. So you start to feel those emotions. Well, they found with empaths that those areas of their brain get highlighted and they start to feel what the other people are feeling. So is this a paranormal thing? There's that school of thought that it's like a psychic thing, it's a paranormal thing. I personally believe that we are all empaths. The difference is whether or not we've tapped into our ability to do this. Some people it comes very naturally for. Some people have uncanny ability to see through other people's facades, which, there comes in the human lie detector aspect. Some people get overwhelmed when they are in large crowds. They can feel the energy of the crowd. They can feel the energy of a room. I remember being as young as 6 and being able to read people's minds. I remember asking my aunt very young what was wrong, and she was kind of being shunned by the rest of the family, and she didn't feel accepted. Outwardly, she wasn't showing any signs of being upset, but I kept asking her what was wrong. And my little 6-year-old self said to her, "You feel like they don't want you in there." And she looked at me with this shocked look on her face and was like, "How did you know that?" I've done it as long as I can remember. I did it long before I knew that a word for it was called empath. I have been able to detect people's emotions. I've been able to detect their intentions. I've been able to see through people. It's a blessing and a curse. And anybody who is in touch with their empathic self will tell you the same. It's great because you tend not to get scammed, but it's not so great because you tend to look at the best in people. When you're an empath, you can have feelings that just come out of nowhere. You can be riding along, feeling just fine, but you pick up the emotions of someone next to you and you feel them as if they're happening to you. So if somebody is really sad or upset, if somebody's in physical pain, you can actually pick up somebody's physical pain and start to feel it yourself. So what do you do with all of that? It can be exhausting to be out in public. Empaths tend to need a lot of time alone to recharge. I personally used to get exhausted easily until I learned how to kind of block myself and protect myself. For me, it was just as simple when I felt something that didn't quite feel like it was my own. And by that I mean, I would go to a funeral for a coworker's parent or family member. I didn't know the family member. It wasn't even that close of a friend, it was just a coworker. But I'd find myself at the wake or funeral just being overwhelmed with emotion and crying like it was my own family member who had passed away. I remember thinking, what the heck is wrong with you? You didn't even know this person. I realized after too many years that I was an empath, and that if I didn't protect myself when I'd walk into those situations, that I would easily get overwhelmed with the feeling of the room. So for me, the simple thing was just, let me feel what is only mine and no one else's. Let me feel what is only mine and no one else's. And I would picture drawing myself in this great protective bubble. That was usually enough for me to be able to differentiate what I was truly feeling of my own and what was somebody else. It worked for me for a really long time. I've gotten to the point now where I can turn that off and on a lot of times. Sometimes it even hits me out of nowhere. But it has led to me being people-centered. I try to put people first. It's very hard as an empath to not want to protect people, to not want to help people, to not feel like you need to do something to help somebody, because that's just the way that we're wired. When you take on somebody's emotions, when you take on somebody's feelings, when you take on how people are feeling about a certain situation, you want to step in. So you might be an empath. Do people come to you for advice? Will you be standing in line at the store and all of a sudden somebody just dumps their life story on you out of nowhere and you're like, okay, stranger? It's because they recognize in you that you're a safe place, you're a safe person to talk to. So what do you do with it? Hopefully you do good. Hopefully you do some service. And hopefully you can learn how to protect yourself so you're not exhausted, so you don't have a hard time going out in public, and you can continue to relate to people. So tell me what you think about that. Are you an empath? Do you think you're an empath? Do you want to know more about this? And when we're talking about wanting to know more, let me know in the comments. What kind of videos do you want me to cover? Do you want me to cover more plant medicine? Do you want me to cover more about mediumship? Do you want me to cover more about how to read tarot cards, crystals? You tell me. I really want this to be about us and a community. And I want to reach people who are just beginning to awaken and beginning to ascend. Oh, that's it. Do you want me to talk about what it means to awaken and ascend? Because some of you may not know, because you're just starting, and that led you here. And for that, I am very thankful. So let me know what you want to hear. If you want to see more videos from me, which I hope you do, because they're only going to get better. I promise. I'm starting to find my footing, and it's just going to go up from here. Make sure you subscribe. And if you want to know when I have a new video posted, make sure you hit that little bell button next to the subscribe. That's it for tonight. Thank you guys for sticking with me. As I said, it's just going to get better from here. So have a good night. Take care of each other. Good night, love nuggets.